What if every single social media was a country? So yeah, the way we're going to do this is based off population density. So I took the population of San Francisco and I used that. And the reason we're using population density instead of literally anything else is because it's simply the only way to portray the countries as the size they should be. Because everything else is just really inconsistent. Alright, so what we're going to assume is that the average monthly users of each social media is the population of the country. So right here, as you can see, is all the major social medias in the world as a country. And, oh my god, I'm just realizing I forgot Twitch. But, oh my god, this map took like 2 hours to make, I'm not... Yeah, but this is almost all the major social medias in the world. And before you say like, oh, where's Kick? I'm not including Kick. Okay, you can see there's a lot of like empty land here, but you know, there's really not that much social medias, even though they're huge. Yeah, so the biggest country here is Facebook. No. As you can see, they take up almost all of Australia. Hang on to everyone in Australia. I'm so sorry from everyone to Australia, but you know, I had to put them somewhere. Alright, so yeah, the rest of Australia is occupied by Discord though, and you know, depending on what server you're on, it won't be that bad. The next largest country is YouTube, and you know, I kind of just want to talk about North America as a whole. Because the third largest country, WhatsApp, is also located in North America. By the way, you know WhatsApp has 2 billion users? Like, I legit don't know a single person with a WhatsApp. Like, Facebook surprising me too, just because, like I thought YouTube would be way bigger than Facebook, because, you know, no one I know uses, like, very little people I know have a Facebook, you know. Like, I've seen, like, YouTubers that are in their 40s with Facebooks. My grandma has a Facebook, but nobody uses Facebook. Like, let's be real for a second. But WhatsApp, literally no one I know uses WhatsApp. Probably most people I know haven't even heard of WhatsApp. Like, so I'm surprised that it's as big as it is, but yeah, you can see WhatsApp takes up like pretty much like takes up a lot of Canada. So yeah, again, sorry to all my Canadian people. You know, just apologies to everyone who lives in North America, honestly. But yeah. So anyways, YouTube is of course takes up most of the United States. You know, the kind of remainder states there. Kind of think that few states have joined the Confederacy, but you know, even then, like Virginia and the Carolinas, like are part of YouTube. So YouTube's still pretty big, almost as big as Facebook is, and WhatsApp's also almost as big as Facebook and YouTube are. But you know, Facebook, they're all is bigger by a few 100,000 kilometers. All right, in fourth place is Facebook Messenger, which is also located in North America. You know, as you can see, it takes up pretty much the rest of Canada, as well as a lot of Alaska, because you know it has about 1.3 million people using it, which again also surprised me. I don't know anyone uses Facebook Messenger. Alright, and since we're still in the continent, might as well talk about TikTok. You can see TikTok controls Mexico and the remaining states. Because TikTok, surprisingly to me, doesn't have a billion people using it. It only has like 690 billion people using it. So yeah, TikTok's only the 6th largest country. As you can see, Reddit's in the Caribbean. The Caribbean's surprisingly big. You know, Reddit isn't a small site. It actually has about like 475 million people using it. So it's actually millions of kilometers of land right there. So the Caribbean's really big, and Reddit controls all of it. Right down here is Snapchat, and they control pretty much like they control all of Central America, as well as pretty much all of South America that's above Brazil. I don't really know how to explain it, but you see Snapchat, you know, it's pretty huge. Alright, so in Africa, there really is nothing in Africa. If you live in Africa, you survived. But you can see down here, Twitter. Twitter is actually one of the smaller countries. But yeah, if you live in South Africa, Twitter. And but if you live in Egypt, you can see here that WeChat is the 4th largest country. And the reason you never heard of it is because it's some Chinese thing. And you know, everyone in China basically uses it, so it has over 1 billion people using it. Just because it can do so much, like everyone in China has one, like you can literally do your banking on this. So also in Asia is Instagram. Instagram is the 5th largest country with slightly less people using it than Facebook Messenger, and like it's around the same user base as WeChat. So yeah, India on the Mercator protection looks bigger than a lot of these, but it's actually smaller by a good few million kilometers than Facebook. And I know it doesn't look that much smaller, but it is. All right. So what also in Asia you got a QQ. The reason again that's another Chinese thing, but yeah, they're pretty huge. Occupy like all of West China, which is pretty big. Then up there is a Telegram, which I don't know if you've never. It's a reason you've never heard of. I don't know why you've never heard of it, but apparently it has like 500 million monthly users, so it's enough to get Kazakhstan as well as Kyrgyzstan. Then in Mongolia, we got okay, so apparently it's called Shino Weibo. And again, probably never heard of it because it's a Chinese one. Once again, it's not hard to become one of the biggest social media with just Chinese, because China's population is almost 1 billion. So if most of China is using your product, like that's like that's a lot of people. And as you can see, occupying a lot of the remainder of China, some of China is just border gore, but is Tumblr. Tumblr has a surprising amount of users considering how, like, literally all I hear is, oh, I hate Tumblr, but, yeah, apparently Tumblr has, like, around the same amount of users as Reddit, so that's enough to get them, China. And as you can see, 4chan's actually really small. They only have, like, 27 million users, so 4chan is the smallest country on here. And, let's go to Europe. Yeah, if you don't live in Constantinople, you're safe. You survive. Alright, so, also worth mentioning is that, although Facebook is not only the biggest country, but they also actually own Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, and Instagram in real life. So we could assume that they're vassal states of Facebook in this alternate reality. So they control the most land by far. They are easily the strongest country. Alright, I already mentioned that they have a few billion. In just Facebook, they have a few billion in each country, so like even WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger have over 1 billion people in it, so they quite literally pretty much have the entire Earth's population in just their territory. Because you gotta keep in mind, right, that like in real life it's obviously just people have an account and everything, but in this we're gonna assume that it's like different people. So yeah, Facebook is literally the god of this earth, man. I should also mention that WeChat and QQ are owned by Tencent, which makes Tencent the second largest country. Now, you could argue all the Chinese companies are fit together because all the Chinese companies are basically owned by the government. But, for the purpose of this, we'll just say that WeChat and QQ are on the same team. So where would the first war break out? Well, it'd probably be between YouTube and TikTok, and then TikTok will be like, yeah, we better than YouTube, and YouTube will be like, no, and then they'll start the war, man, and then the next war will be between Reddit and 4chan. Reddit will be like, I'm way better than you, dog, and 4chan will be like, Reddit will lose to 4chan in a war, even though their country is quite literally almost 20 times larger than 4chan. And Twitter would be too busy fighting itself to fight in any of the wars.
Now we can just look at really small things, like the stability in our nation.
And Facebook would just try to take over everything, if I'm being honest.